Welcome back to another episode of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm your host, ZeralMan1, and today we are going to be talking about how to get your island to be a 5-star. Okay? So, to do that, you must be doing the most effective way of doing this. And now I'm going to do a tour of my island so you could see what items I have placed. Now keep in mind, each item on its own has its own point system. So your island has a point system along with your house as well. So if you're trying to get your house up to speed to have the best points that there is in the game, well, if you have so many items in your house, make sure it's not on a place like a dropped item on the floor, because it counts as clutter. Or if you haven't been to your island for a while, and these critters that are called roaches or whatever they're called, they're these kind of bugs that you can't catch. Okay? These are bugs you can't catch because they are in your home. So the only way to do that is by crushing them, meaning to their death. So, and once you take care of all the cockroaches in your house, you'll be relieved by crushing all of them in the game. So, with that in mind, keep this in mind, that if you want to prevent such event happening in your own home, well, there is one way to do that. So before we get started on me getting you to help you on how to get 5-star island, I gotta make sure I have enough money, and I do not. So to do this, you are going to be needing, and make sure you are able to do this. Once you're in resident services, make sure you have 20,000 bells on hand. The reason I say this is because of one reason. The ordinances, which is a type of service that Isabelle will provide only to those are the resident rep, if that makes sense to you. Since considering I'm using a character that is considered a resident rep, which means I can change the ordinance in any way I want. So, keep this in mind. The only one that manages the island, that started the island, will be considered the island resident rep. So, if you have any other player villagers that are on the island living with you at the same time, so let's say, for example, on my island, I have multiple housings on my island that are through profiles. So, like, for example, Zelda, Link is just started just recently. So, if you have different profiles on your Switch, and you use those to do the ordinances, think again. It's not going to work. Why is it not going to work? Well, unfortunately for you, you have to use your main character that you started the island with to do this. So keep this in mind. Now, if you are the only one living on the island with the 10 villagers on the island, then you have nothing to worry about. So, let's get to Isabelle and let's talk to her and see what she has to say for us here. Alright, so there are multiple things you can do here. Okay, you can talk about island evals, which allows you to check where your star island sits. So mine was at 5 stars. So let's check that again, see if we're still the current image of Hyrule, and it is, like I said, 5-star. Who knew? Right? So now she is going to give you the feedback that she gathered. And it depends on who gives off the feedback to her, and then that's what you get. So, keep this in mind. But in the process, you will get a recipe not a card. You will not get a card, considering they did take this card away as a physical copy. So the only way you're going to get this card is by doing the 5-star island challenge, which is going to be interesting for you to do. So we'll get to that point system here in a second here, once I tell you about the ordinances here. Review island features. So we're going to go there. Now, you could change the island tune just from here. You could change the island flag, which I did in a video already once. So you already know at this point, know how to do just that. So, now, discuss ordinances. Now, this is where you need 20,000 bells on hand to do so. So, I have the beautiful island ordinance, which is in effect. So, what that does is allows the slow growth of the weeds that grow on your island, plus any of the cockroaches that show up in your house. They will not show up at all. So if you leave your island for several days at a time, you have nothing to worry about. Okay? So I'm going to say yes please, but I'm not going to select a certain one. But here we've got, the other three that you can do is early bird ordinance, which allows the shops to open earlier than expected. So normally the Nook's Cranny will be 8 to 10, correct? Well, the early bird will make it go from 7 to 9 instead. Make sense? And as far as the clothing shop will be the same thing. Since the clothing shop opens at 9, right? To 9, right? It will open at 8 to 8. That's just an example, okay? Night owl ordinance. Now, the night owl ordinance is as it suggests. But before we get to there, the early bird also affects the villagers as well. So they will get up earlier than expected. So be prepared for that if you're not aware of that. Night owl ordinance. If you're a night owl like me, okay? Keep that in mind. If you're a night owl like me, this will be your best friend. So, night owl, as it suggests, the stores will stay open later at night. So, for that matter, if you see that your store is open past 10 o'clock, then you wonder why. Okay? So now, instead of the stores closing at 9 or 10, they will close from 10 to 11. Okay? Keep that in mind. Bell boom ordinance. So this is a very interesting concept. Now this is very tough to work with if you're not careful. So let's say you wanted to buy an item at your shop and it's way more expensive than you expected it to be, because then you look online, it doesn't match. Well, because the bell boom ordinance allows the prices to go up, but the selling of the prices will go up as well. So that will give you a nice little effect here. So the more you spend on expensive items, the more you sell items, the more bells you receive. So keep in mind, bell boom ordinance is always effective only if you know how to tame it. Okay? So if you want to buy something expensive and you know it's going to be really spendy, don't do bell boom ordinance. Okay? It's really hard to tame, if you know what I'm saying. Alright, and then there is drop our curtained ordinance, which I have the beautiful island ordinance, which I told you exactly what its name suggests. That there will be no trash in your rivers. There is slow growth on the weeds. Your villagers will water your plants more diligently. But they will not water your produce. You got to do that yourself. Keep that in mind. But also it also prevents any cockroaches showing up in your own home, period. Which means you can stop the game right now and then go ahead 5 years. No cockroaches. But the weeds will still show up on your island, so it doesn't stop that. So keep that in mind if you want to do that temptation. So, but I'm not going to spend 20,000 on any ordnance since I like the beautiful island ordnance. However, the beautiful island ordnance only affects on your own island. So if you went to Captain's Island or a mystery island, per se, it doesn't affect on either one. So if you went to fish in the river or off the sea, you get trash. Convenient, right? So, now back to the topic. Oh my gosh. Okay, Eugene, what do you got? Oh, touchdown. Yeah, they gave me certain nicknames that you'll laugh at sometimes. Sorry, I was just kind of spacing out there. You know, deep thoughts. Actually, to tell you the truth, I was thinking of moving out away from Hyrule. No! You are not. Alright, move canceled. I'm 100% back on Team Hyrule. Yeah, you better be. You're my only smug on my island. Good grief. Killing me here. Ay, ay, ay. Have you heard the line? You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Alright, so back to our thing here. So when it comes to getting to a 5-star island, as you can see that I place fencing all over the place, okay? So the more fencing you place anywhere you want, the way I did it is to make it look like a town. So you can walk around in certain areas to get to certain towns. And with that, I also did a castle wall gimmick here, as you can see here. So, this is basically kind of like the gimmick of Hyrule, kind of, on its own. So, this is the resident services, as you may know. I did the castle around it to mimic the Hyrule castle, kind of, on its own. It's not the exact same, but it's supposed to mimic that in some way. So, we are going to go over here. I'm going to do a little tour. As you can see, there's a weed right here. I'll take care of that later. There's another one right over there. And then over here we have what is called the Death Mountain, which has my shopping center inside it. So, we're going to hop on over. And I'm in the Lost Woods already, as you may know where I started on this video. So, I will show you that here in a second. But, this is Death Mountain right here. But to get inside it, I would have to go through a pipe system. Okay? So this is basically what a Death Mountain looks like from on top. So I can go inside there, it's just I need to go through a pipe system, which I will not do in this video. Okay? So now we're going to go through the Lost Woods. As you can see, Pearl is standing right there, walking around. Now, as you can see, the Lost Woods, as the name suggests. Try not to get lost in here, will ya? Okay, so this is my area back here. So each area that you can see has their own unique set of items. So each item or fencing is placed, which means that adds the total points. Each item has their own unique set of points. So, and it's programmed. So, if you place, let's say, this shop sign, this little sign right there that I'm facing there, that will add the total points on the island, which means those are going to be needed in order to have a 5-star island. So the more items you have placed, the better you have. So, more items you place, but here's the problem. You are the only one that can figure out where it goes. However, there will be some help if need be. I will give pointers of where each points will be added depending on how many items you have on your island. Now, remember, the game does not tell you how many points you have out in the open, which means anywhere on your island. The game itself does not tell you how to get a 5-star island. That is the tricky part. So placing as many items as you can will be the best option. And now, to get a 5-star island, make sure you have exactly 10 villagers at one time. The reason I say this is because if you do not, it will stay at 4 stars. Keep that in mind. So, make sure you have 10 villagers and the exact points you need. Exactly. The exact points. At least 650 points or more in order to get a 5-star on your island. 10 villagers at 650 points. I may sound like Dumbledore for a second, just keep that in mind. But here's the catch. Each item that you place has their own unique point system. So no matter how many items you place, they will be adding points. The amount that you place depends on the points that are added. But it has to be at least 650 points or more. And 10 villagers on your island altogether. And once you have that met, talk to Isabel. She will give you the rating of 5 stars. Okay? And yes, I did some research on the point system. And it says 650. Okay? That's the point system that you need. That's the requirement for a 5-star. The other requirement is 10 villagers. As you can see, I have 10 villagers and so many items. Why? Because I was busy doing a lot of work trying to get up to 5-star, say the least. So, with that will also factor in also as well. The more plants that you have, the better you have. So if you have roughly about 200 flowers, that also will help as well. Okay? So always keep in mind that when you're doing this, you're always keeping track of what is in play. So keep in mind when you're playing this game, remember, 200 flowers at the most. As you can see, I have a crap ton. So that always factors in for me. And then make sure you have plenty of trees, because those are going to be needed as well to keep your island at 5-star as well. However, if you're trying to remove trees, make sure you eat a fruit and move it somewhere else. If you want to keep it, that is. Keep that in mind. So, that is always saying something. Okay? So now, let's open up this bottle that I found. Oh, I've got 2 of them. What the heck? Woodland wall, do I have that? Yes, I do. Alright, alright. This one I found today. What is it? Bamboo floor lamp. I know for... Never mind. Okay. Sadly. That's interesting. Alright. So now, we are going to put away some stuff. I'm going to put away the old tire. And, whoa, I've got a coconut tree. I should be placing that. Come on. Yep. Gosh. Is it just me, or or am I tired? I don't know. But I am going to place that tree, though. So now, I need to remember that's where a tree is sitting. So, hello, Draco. Nice to see you. And yes, that is one of my friend's house that lives on the island. So that's one of the locations that I have villagers living here. Draco is actually one of the player villagers that live on the island. So, and their character's name has no way affecting the theme I'm going with. So I know this is a little early, but this is all I have for you. So if you like this video, please do leave a like and a comment, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm your host, Survival Man 1, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Maybe today, if not Thursday. I'll see you then.